So this morning we are continuing on with diving into our theme for the month, listening. And we are starting with, as always, some spiritual principles to help get us anchored in the Word today. I am taking the spiritual principles or reading the spiritual principles that comes from Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of Science of the Mind, and the greater organization that teach the philosophy of Ernest Holmes, and many who write and teach and preach about New Thought. And so you can find a copy of this if you do a search online for Ernest Holmes and What We Believe. So this morning we're working with spiritual principle number 1, and it reads, we believe in God, the living spirit, almighty one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. We believe this one manifests itself in and through all creation. We believe that it is everything. We believe that God is everything and is in everything. Spiritual principle number 2, we believe that God is in us. We believe that we are the individualization of the Spirit in us. And spiritual principle number 7, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through us. We believe that our inner awareness of truth, that it causes us to sense, to see, to feel, and to know everything that is inside of me through our intuitive, through our ability to intuit, to sense, to see, to know. We believe that our intuition reveals to us in ways that we can understand. We believe that our intuition reveals to us the answers to our prayers. We believe that our intuition reveals to us this truth, that you are the answer to your prayer. That's what we believe. And so, if you are to know this to be the truth of your life, then as the principle states, principle 7 states, you must live in close contact with the indwelling presence of God. That is, you must listen and be engaged in the act of listening. That means you are engaged in staying close to what is sacred. And the Reverend Dr. Maxine K likes to say that nothing is serious and everything is sacred. So we are engaged of staying close to what is sacred when we are listening. And so for the last 2 weeks now, I think that I've been talking about listening, and listening has been our theme. If you haven't quite got it, let me be very plain about it. Listening is important. It's important. Listening is important to the one who desires, to the one who truly desires to experience love. Listening is important to the one who truly desires to experience goodness. Listening is important to the one who truly desires to experience peace. You have to desire it, though. Then it becomes available to you. As I said last week then, or as I suggested last week then, listening is perhaps one of the greatest tools that we have to break down, to tear down, to kick down, and to possibly take a wrecking ball to the barriers that stand between you and God, the barriers that stand between me and God, listening to tear down, to break down, the barriers that stand between you and me. It is our greatest tool to tear down, to break down, to kick down the thing that stands between who I used to be and who I am becoming. Listening. One of our greatest tools. It removes the barriers so that we really begin to sense our oneness. It removes the barriers that gets in the way of us living out our oneness and experiencing our oneness. It's our tool. The good news is that barriers are meant to be broken, to be torn down, to be torn down, to be kicked down. Barriers are meant to come down. It is what it is. It's just a barrier, something that stands between. And all barriers are meant to come down. So, as I've been talking about listening, I'm just wondering or was thinking that perhaps that if maybe you have this question, or maybe you all have been thinking about this as we're talking about listening and as it relates to listening, you might be thinking, well, how do I know? And this question always comes up. How do I know it's God that I'm listening to, or is it just me? How do I know that it is my God self or my ego self? How do I know in my listening if it is my higher self or my lower self? Well, let us consider this. Listening changes everything about you. Listening changes everything about you. Not just any old listening, but the kind of listening that we've been talking about the last 2 weeks, a sacred kind of listening. It changes everything about you. It's sort of like this. Our Christian brothers and sisters might say something like, I'm born again. Listening. I'm made new. I'm changed. Listening has this kind of effect on us. It changes everything about us. Our problem is, or the problem is sometimes though, is that many of us, we are concerned about, or way more concerned about being entertained than we are about changing. Many of us, we are in such a pursuit of what we want that we forget that there's a part of us that has to be willing to let go of what we no longer desire. And so instead of being changed and being aware of how the act of listening is changing us, we get distracted, we get deterred, and are engaged in other things that's oftentimes they're merely to entertain us or to give us the things that we are desiring, which is just another form of entertainment. So, how do you know it's God? Well, the action that you take, it stems from inspiration. In our listening, when we are guided to be and to do, when we are moved into being and doing, it's from a place of inspiration, so we don't get tired. If it's you, you're going to get tired. When you find yourself engaged in being and doing, when you find yourself in the pursuit and you are chasing, you know that it's you because you will get tired. For us, it is a moment of being inspired into movement and not tired. That's how you know if it's you or God. You take inspired action and you're not tired because of your action. Listening changes everything about you. The great Howard Thurman says that this listening, that when we stop and when we move into quietness and when we are still and when we be cool and when we find ourselves in this silence, that the silence invades the pattern of our living. How do you know it's you? Or how do you know it's God? If you are living the same way that you've always been living, listening changes everything about you. So you have to come up with a new way to live. If you're not living in a new way, you are not, it is pretty sure that you are listening to yourself, your lower self, your ego self. Because if you are listening to your God self, this listening, it invades the pattern of our living. We have to stop. We have to consider things. And we have to be willing then to live a new way. We have to be willing to find a new way to live. And what does that mean? Well, that means that we have to be willing to stop doing things. And greater than that, it means we have to be willing to start doing some things. This is what listening is. Listening is, let me back up and say this. So I grew up in Tennessee in a small town. I know many of you know it, but some of you don't know it. And when I would go to my grandmother's house, all of my uncles and aunties, they all lived really, 10 feet away, and I ain't even lying. So, and everybody had a whole bunch of children. And so on any given day and at any given time, literally, there might be 15 or 20 of us together, running around in the house, running around outside. And my grandmother would often say, "Stop all that running. Stop all that chasing each other." Anybody, y'all know what I'm talking about? Because, we was wild out there in there. Chasing the dog, chasing the cats, chasing the pigs. We was all over the place, chasing the hogs. And my grandmother would say, "Stop all that. Stop all that running. Stop all that chasing." In other words, stop pursuing things. This is a new way of living, to stop all that. If you are pursuing something, you are chasing something, you are not listening to God. You're engaged in the act of pursuing something. And my grandmother would say, "Stop all that running before you hurt yourself or you hurt somebody." Listening is like that. It causes us to have to stop and to be honest with ourselves, which is why many of us don't listen. You got to be honest with yourself to see and to admit, I've hurt somebody. I did it. I did something. There are a lot of times that I've done something, that I've hurt somebody. And through listening, I can meet God's grace. But it's only in listening that we get to God's grace. You know what I'm saying? I've taken for granted sometimes my position. And I've stood up here in this pulpit and I've said things that has not always been things I should have said. I did it. Listening requires us to do this. I hurt some people. Listening, our greatest tool. Because you got to be quiet. You got to be still. You got to listen to the Spirit in you. You got to be willing to go to the depths, to move below the surface. You got to be willing to kick down the barriers, to tear down the barriers. Perhaps take a wrecking ball to the barriers of the things that stand between you and peace, of the things that stand between you and joy, of the thing that stands between you and God. Joel Goldsmith, he calls this silence, he says it like this, he says it is the thunder of silence. The thunder of silence. So it's in our pursuit and in our chase that we never get to a place where we just simply allow Spirit to be, allow love to be what it already is, allow peace to be already what it is in me. When we are in pursuit and chasing things, hurting people and hurting ourselves, really, or what I'm meaning is that, or what I'm wanting you to know is that we spend a lot of time imagining what's not there. And we are often plagued with the thought, a thought something similar to this: I will never, ... I'll never have, I'll never be, or it'll never happen. Fill in whatever that is for you. That's what chasing and pursuing, that's where it leads us. It never leads us to affirming. It never leads us into living in a new way, where we must start with God and end with God. That's a new way of living. I start with God and I end with God. Certainly when I move into the silence, I want to read just a little bit about what Joel Goldsmith has to say in his book titled The Thunder of Silence. And in this copy, I'm reading from page 191. And here's what he says. Stand ye still and see. This standing still is not only a refraining from physical and mental power, but from spiritual power as well. A complete relaxing in an ocean of peace. I do not know the process, and neither can you. But we can and we will witness the fruitage of that stillness and quietness, because in the silence, a miracle takes place. We need only be still. We are aligned with a power that is not a power. We are achieving victory without force. We do not even use spiritual force, but our stillness permits spiritual force to use us. Ours is a refraining from power in a silence which thunders, quote, I am God. Therefore, you be still and rest, for I will be with you until the end of the world. You rest, relax, and be silent. When we have rested, when we have become still, and when we have permitted the Spirit to permeate mind and body, something greater than ourselves goes before us and prepares the way for us. In other words, our action, our call to action, or our move into action, as I've given us some action items the last 2 weeks, this week, let us know then that what we are to do is to stop and to rest. The Bible suggests that we have a Sabbath day where we do nothing, where we rest. And in it then, as Joel Goldsmith says, that in the silence there are miracles. and we don't know how it happens, or how something happens, or how something changes, or how something shifts, or shall I say, I don't always know how I'm changed or how I'm going to be changed, but I am committed to living a new way, because listening changes me and listening changes you. In the silence, miracles happen. In the stillness, miracles happen. It can only happen this way for you if you let go of your pursuit, if you stop chasing peace, if you stop chasing love, if you stop pursuing prosperity, if you stop pursuing that person, if you stop chasing that man, if you stop chasing that woman, if you stop chasing the job, if you stop chasing it, and move into the stillness and move into the quietness, there a miracle will take place. And you don't have to know how, you just have to know that it is. My grandmother says, stop all that running. Stop all that running. Stop all the chasing. Stop all the pursuing and start allowing. Start allowing peace to be what peace already is. Start allowing joy to be what it already is. Start allowing love to be what it already is. Joel Goldsmith says that we must know that every worthy desire of our heart is fulfilled when we stop pursuing, when we stop chasing, when we stop hurting others, and when we stop hurting ourselves. But we have to stop chasing. We have to stop pursuing. We have to stop all that running, and we have to start listening. We have to start listening. And let me end like this as our practitioners come forward to join me in prayer. If you haven't already received the invitation, it's like a call to the altar this morning. Why don't you consider listening? Why don't you make it a natural part of your routine, your daily routine of meditation, of prayer, of affirming what you know to be true, of affirming what you know is already inside of you. Why don't you consider it? Why don't you consider allowing the thunder of silence to pervade your ever-presence and being? Why don't you consider that in the stillness and in the quietness, miracles happen, and you don't know how they happen, but you can see the fruitage of the miracle in your own life. No longer are you pursuing peace, you are peace. And no longer are you pursuing love, you are love. No longer are you pursuing joy, you are joy. You don't go anywhere to get joy, you bring joy. You don't go anywhere to seek peace, you bring peace. You don't go anywhere to get understanding, you are understanding. You don't go anywhere asking for prayer, you understand that you are the prayer. Let us in this moment then just bring our awareness into this moment where we become so aware of a power and a presence that is never an absence, that is everything and that is in everything, that is in you and is in me, in all of its fullness, in all of its glory, in all of its goodness, all of its love, and all of its joy, and all of its peace. Let us so unify with it today that you and I, that our action is inspired action, that we move out into our world in such a way where our being and our doing is fueled by the inspiration of listening, where we travel the depths of our own soul, where we know that our roots are connected to the rich soil of the infinite good, and this good is flowing to me and through me now. Let us affirm and know then that today our action is from that place and that space, that we can easily identify the voice of God and the voice of me, the voice of my God self versus the voice of my ego self, the voice of my fearful self and the voice of my faithful self, the voice of myself that is consumed with chaos and the voice of myself that is consumed with calm. Let us today know that nothing gets in the way and that each one of us, we have everything we need within us to tear down, to kick down, to take a bolt or two to break down. And that if we are even so bad, so nasty, let us just affirm and know that we even get to the place where there are no barriers. There's no barrier between me and God. There's no barrier to tear down between me and you. There's no barrier in my life to remove pieces already in me. There is no barrier. Joy is already who I am. There is no barrier. Love is seeking me. There is no barrier. Today, let this be our practice, our sacred practice of listening, where you and I truly come to know that nothing is serious and everything is sacred. As we move into our time of listening, as each one of us then, as I affirm for you and I affirm for myself that I gladly take my Sabbath, that today I gladly rest. Today I gladly rely on the power and presence of God that is breathing me, and I ain't doing nothing about it. I can't make it any more better than it already is. The moment it's already perfect. You and I, we are already perfect. There's nowhere to go to get it. It's already in you. It's already in me. We are affirming this today through our listening, through our sacred practice of listening. I know for you as I know for myself. No longer am I in pursuit. No longer am I chasing. I affirm for you as I affirm for myself, as my grandmother would say, stop all that running. That we stop all that running. That we move into the space of allowing the power and presence of God to be so expressed and experienced in us, through us, and as us, that it is the only thing that we know. I'm grateful for this today. I'm grateful to be able to pause and to take this moment to remind you, as I remind myself, of these spiritual truths. I'm grateful in knowing that in this moment that we've taken together to engage in the practice of listening, that we're changed on the inside. And that our outside must soon reflect our inside. That we affirm and know that our goodness must be reflected on the main stage of life. And there we shall see goodness all the days. Grateful. Let us be so moved in this moment to simply gather the words that have been spoken, to gather the songs that have been sung, the eye glances that have been made, the welcoming one to the other, the honoring of humanity in another. Let us take it all in. As we just turn it over into the infinite law that is always saying yes, let us just accept it, that these words, that everything that we've said, that it's already done. It's already done. Let us just come together then in agreement by saying, and so it is. And so as we journey on throughout our week, let us all heed the words of my grandmother. Stop all that running. before you hurt somebody or hurt yourself. Be still and move into the silence don't move until you are made new. And so it is.